How to schedule pins with Tailwind. So we're going to be using the Publish tab today, and everything we have to say is going to be all in this one tab. We will visit the other tabs in the Analytics section. We're going to talk about a browser extension to make scheduling easier, creating board lists, setting up time slots, and how to schedule pins. The browser extension for Tailwind makes things really, really easy. You can download it for Google, Chrome, Safari, or Firefox. If you have Chrome, there's actually a little thing right here in the Tailwind dashboard that you can just click and download it. If you have another browser, you'll need to go up into the settings and download it there. But I will show you how to use that when we schedule pins at the end. It just makes it a lot easier. So this Tailwind extension, it will allow you to pin directly from your Pinterest feed. You can see right here, this thing pops up and the little Tailwind button will be right there. And you can use this to schedule your pin or anyone else's as well. So anytime you're scrolling through your feed and maybe you see a pin but you want to schedule it for later, you can easily just click that button right there and it will bring it up in a draft and you can schedule it. It also allows you to schedule straight from your article or website. So when you hover over an image on a website, it will say schedule right here at the bottom left, and you can click on that and it will bring that photo right up to schedule it as well. So here is another way to schedule pins. I can tell you there's many different ways. You just have to kind of figure out what works the best for you, but right in your dashboard, you can actually look at your other pins that have been previously scheduled in the past, and you can hit the reschedule button right over here to schedule those pins again. And you can also use the search feature. So if you haven't pinned it in a while and you want to search for it, you can go find it again using the search bar here. So you can reschedule those pins right there in the dashboard as long as you've already scheduled them in the past. Board lists are really, really great, and they make scheduling a lot easier. So what you can do is you can create a board list and you can pin the same pin multiple times to many different related boards, including group boards. So what I do here is I have a bunch of yoga pins and I have this yoga group right here, and it has all of my yoga boards as well as my workout boards that I pin yoga content to. And when I'm pinning or when I'm scheduling a new pin, I can actually just type in yoga group and it will automatically populate all of these boards. And I will show you how that's done when we actually go to the scheduler and I show you how to schedule. But I have a yoga one and I also have a diet and weight loss, but you just want to kind of separate them in some of your sub niches, and that makes scheduling your pins a lot easier. You can add time slots in your schedule based on high traffic times and how many times you want to pin each day. And that's right over here in the Your Schedule section under the Publish tab. We will go over that in Tailwind as well. And make sure to keep group boards in mind as well when you're selecting the number of pins. If you hit this Generate New Smart Schedule up here, you can tell it exactly how many times you want to post per day, and it will generate you a schedule with suggested time slots based on when people are the most engaged with your content. Keep in mind, if you pin 10 times a day, but maybe you pin another 6 times a day on group boards, you're going to want your time slots to be a total of 16 times per day. And you can generate a new schedule at any time. It never affects or changes any of the pins that you already have scheduled. It only affects anything that you have yet to schedule or anything that you schedule in the future. Let's go ahead and go straight over to Tailwind because it's a lot easier for me to explain kind of the ins and outs and some of the stuff by showing you. This is your Tailwind dashboard, and we right now are in the Publish tab and we are on drafts. So this isn't the main dashboard, this is under the Publish tab. And I don't have any drafts right now, so when you don't have any drafts to be published, they will populate some other content based on what a lot of other users are pinning and based on what I have been pinning lately. This is what your drafts look like, and if you click over here to scheduled, or you can do it over here to scheduled pins, that is going to take you to what is currently scheduled right now. You'll see that I have 370 pins total. It says it right here, and there are 2 different pages. And it basically just, you can go down here and see everything that you have scheduled. You can change the board if you want. You can change the time, and you can also send it back to a draft form if you want to edit it or save it for later. And then if you click on any of these pins over here on your schedule, it will also take you to that specific pin as well. So you can see it kind of up in the right here. One of the best parts about this, and another feature why I love it over Viral Tag, is that you can drag and drop these. Anytime you have a pin scheduled, I could easily easily move it to another time slot. I could even move it to another day if I wanted to, and it updates my schedule. So you don't have to go over here and click on the actual time to change it or move it to a draft. You can just drag and drop it to another day if you want. Or if you see that it's scheduled something next to another topic that maybe is too related, you can kind of move them, rearrange them. You can go over here to your schedule, and this is where you can add your time slots. Up here is where you generate the new schedule. If you want to add a new time slot, all you have to do is just click on it, and then it will automatically add that time slot to your schedule. And then if you don't want it anymore, you can actually just trash it, and it will ask you if you're sure you want to delete it. And then if you want to add another time slot here, you can add another one in addition to these times. I recommend playing around with these a lot just to kind of figure out what's sort of working best for you. But again, it's great because they will tell you what your recommended time slots are based on your traffic. So that's really great. Lastly is board lists, and we talked about this. You can just type any board name in here and select it from your list to add it. You can make a new list by clicking this button, and board lists are really great. But let's show you the other couple ways to pin really quick. If you highlight over a pin here, you can see this Tailwind button right here, so I'll click on that. It's going to pull this up right here. I have two options. I can type in the board name, and I could just select clean eating. I could also type in diet and weight loss, and you see because of my group board list, it's going to automatically populate all of those. Now, I know this is kind of a crash course, so something else I want to say is that unfortunately, when you select the board list and you select all these boards, know that this is the exact order that it's going to pin these in every day. What we can do here is we can use an interval. If you don't use an interval and you just hit auto queue, it's going to populate this same pin in every open time slot that you have. So right here, it would drop this pin in this slot, in this slot, in this slot, in this slot. It would be every open time slot that you have. So it's important to use interval pinning, and you can tell it, okay, I only want to pin this pin once every 2 days or once every 1 day. And you can set that interval, and you have a few options here. You can pin it in your open time slots, which I just showed you. You can also pin it at other optimized times, and Tailwind will basically select this for you based on some other available time slots that you don't have set yet. And then you can actually do exact, which is when you set the exact time. But in general, you want to usually pin to your open time slots because again, we just set that up in our time slot area. So you want to do that. And then the other option here is that you can go ahead and hit schedule now, and it's going to schedule this pin out every 2 days to each one of these boards. Or the other thing we can do is we can go ahead and hit save for later. And then I'm going to show you what happens when you do that. What I do recommend doing is kind of setting aside 1 day a month or every 2 weeks to schedule all of your content at once for that upcoming month. And then you can just kind of change your strategy and remove certain pins if you need to. And then when you publish a new post and a new pin, just go ahead and add that pin to the rest of your month's schedule. That's what I recommend doing. Let me refresh this draft so you can see what that just did. Because I hit save for later and I selected all those boards, what it did is it made an individual draft for every single one. And you can see that down here it says March 16th, March 18th, March 20th. It still has that 2-day interval that I set. And I could go ahead and hit schedule on each one. I could go to the bottom and I could hit schedule all drafts, or I could click here and I could change the board. I could change anything I wanted. You can also go up here and delete. The other thing that we can do is we can go to a profile and we can go to a specific board, and we can use the same feature with the Chrome extension, or the Chrome extension also allows you to publish this way. This is a Tailwind publisher up here. It's the same extension, and if you push that little button, it will automatically select a bunch of pins from your board, and you can go over here and you can select multiple. So I can hit that one and that one and that one, and you see they're populating down here, and it says go schedule, and you can click right on there and it's going to show you these drafts up here. And I have the same options here. I can type in different board names, I can select different stuff, different cues, different intervals. I can do all those settings, or what I could also do is I could just go hit save for later, and I can decide when I get in my publisher when I want to do that. See, these are all my drafts now. I have all these chia seeds here. So let me try to explain this in the easiest way possible. It can get a little bit confusing. Let me go ahead and type in diet and weight loss, diet, weight loss again, diet and weight loss again. So if you'll notice these pins, when I typed in the diet and weight loss group board list, you notice that it populated the group boards in exactly the same order. So what this means is that if I select this pin to pin today, it's going to pin to this weight loss board today, and clean eating tomorrow, weight loss tips the next day. Now let's say I want to pin this ginger tea maybe about 2 hours after the green tea, and I want to do the same thing. I want to pin it on one board each and every day. So what's going to happen is it's going to post in the same exact order: weight loss, clean eating, the next day weight loss tips, next day weight loss. Maybe I want to pin this hourglass curves 3 hours after that. What you end up happening is that because this order stays the same, I'm going to end up pinning all 3 of these pins to weight loss on the same day. They're all 3 going to pin at different times to clean eating the next day, weight loss tips the day after that. The problem there is that, if you end up pinning 10 pins a day, you're going to only be pinning them to the same exact board every day. And you don't want to do that because different people follow different boards, and you want your content to be spread out among different boards every day as much as possible. So this is where this feature Shuffle Queue comes in. You can hit this Shuffle Queue and it lets you know, are you sure you want to do this? Because once you do this, you can't reverse it. But what happens is you can schedule a bunch of stuff for each day, and if you hit shuffle, it will shuffle all pins and all boards every day. This can be really great just to mix up your content. The downside of this, and something to watch out for, is that you do not want to do this when you have certain pins going to group boards. It doesn't shuffle the actual board you're pinning to, but it will move it to a different day. So if you have set rules on only being able to pin to one group board, maybe 2 to 3 times a day, and you shuffle your queue and you have those pins unlocked, it may be that your pins will end up shuffling so that maybe now you're only pinning 1 time to this group board this day, but maybe 4 times the next day. But what you can do is you can actually, there's a little locked feature on here, and you can lock and unlock pins. So some of them can be shuffled amongst your own boards. If it's a group board, you don't want it shuffled, you can actually just lock it. The good thing is that there are a lot of features here, and it will just take you some time to go through it all. I know it's overwhelming at first, but I recommend just keep modifying your strategy as you go along, playing around with it, seeing kind of what happens. Scheduling in general can really be quite time consuming. That's why I recommend doing it only about once a month and setting up your pins for a whole month, and just kind of, deleting pins here, adding pins there as necessary. I wouldn't recommend going through your schedule every single day and creating a new schedule every day, because it's going to be extremely time consuming. And if you guys have any more questions about scheduling with Tailwind, just feel free to ask in the group, especially other people. They're all going to be doing this as well, so you could post and ask if other people have any strategies. But no matter what, just play around with Tailwind to get really comfortable with it. We will talk about Tailwind again on the analytics video, so I will see you guys there.